Hey everyone, welcome to Streamline Your Market. I am Tom Morgan, and I'm here to bring you something that is going to just be fantastic. It's going to save your company money. It's going to build up an enthusiasm within your team, within your market that is just going to be unbelievable. So stick with me. We're going to go through some slides. I'm going to talk through them. I'm going to give you guys some information, and I want this to just be as helpful as can be. So stick with me, and here we go. So let's get into this. You say, well, Tom, what's Streamline Your Market? It's based on the lean principles, and who actually even uses this stuff? So why do I need to use it? So there's a lot of big name companies that use this stuff. You have Amazon. Who doesn't use Amazon? You got Toyotas. 70% of the vehicles on the road are Toyotas. You got John Deere. You got Intel. You got Caterpillar. You got Labcorp. And there is just tons and tons more companies that use this. So if the big companies, these big global companies, they're using this stuff, why wouldn't a smaller business, a smaller market, an entrepreneurial market, a blogger, a builder, a person that makes jewelry, any business of any size, any process can use this stuff? So what is this lean thing? Well, the first thing I'll tell you this, it goes against conventional wisdom because there's been this mindset for years and years and years, like 75 years of mass manufacturing inertia that says push the rock up the hill. That's crazy talk. Who wants to do that? Do we really like pushing rocks up a hill? No. We don't have to push rocks up a hill. I'm going to show you how to roll the rocks down the hill. So, how do we make our businesses better? Sure, we got to be conscious. We got to be conscious of the money. So you try and cut costs one way or the other. Well, just cutting costs doesn't work. A company named Wright Associates, they surveyed like 1,200 companies, which 75% said that they have downsized in the past 5 years. In 33% of those companies laid off like over 500 people. So this is what they found out after they started, cutting people and trying to take those drastic cost-saving measures. 75% said they found no improvement in financial performance. 67% said they saw no improvement in productivity. So we've got to realize that what got us here is not going to get us there. We've got to start doing things different. So there's got to be some new thinking required for this. Albert Einstein said, to do the same thing over and over and expect the results will change is insanity. But that's what we do. How many times do we say, hey, that's the way we've always done it? That is poison, that is toxic to progress. So let me ask some questions here. When we go into this whole lean thing, you have to ask yourself some questions. Even before you get into this whole lean thing, if you had to take a little survey and ask your people or your team, would you say that personnel are overworked? Would you say that personnel are under pressure to produce more? Would you say that the priorities change daily? Would you say that there's a feeling that management doesn't listen to them? Or would you say that there's maybe even a lack of teamwork? A lot of companies and a lot of people that I've spoke with answer yes to all these questions. So we have to do something different. And what are we going to do? So there's some more things that you'll hear from maybe your team, from other companies, from some of your colleagues of where they've been. When you go to change and try and implement and try and put something new out there, you'll hear people say, you know what? You don't understand. We're different. They'll say, well, this whole lean transformation thing, it doesn't apply to us. I mean, we don't make cars. We don't make airplanes. We're not pharmaceuticals. Or you might hear, well, lean transformation is only applicable to manufacturing or to traditional hierarchical organizations. And then you just have people that are concrete heads. They just buck everything. So you see on this slide, there's a little line graph here. It says that there's 10 to 15% of the population in any given organization that's just no. They're no. They're almost like that stubborn little child that says you ask them to do something, they're saying no. But then you have this large group of people in the middle. That's really our target audience. They're kind of uncommitted. They're like, I don't know, maybe I want some change, maybe I don't. But they're a little fearful of change, but they can be swayed with the right information, with the right inclusion of these folks, tapping into their intellectual minds and their abilities and encouraging them. We can shift these folks over to this 10 to 15% that are just like born go-getters. Those are the early adapters. We want to kind of model everybody and have everybody kind of funnel that way. And that's where you're going to get change. That's where the cultural change is going to start. When you take that middle group and you start moving them over like this. But they need nurturing. You got to nurture these folks. You got to build a cultural change. And then the flow starts going. So there's 1,001 reasons not to do all this. But it's a new way of doing business, and it's a way to survive and grow. So we're going to go through this, and we're going to figure out kind of like what lean is, what it's not, what it can do for us, why in the world would we even want to do this, what it's going to do for maybe our customers or to our suppliers. Some people might want to even know, is there another efficiency program that could, supersede this one? And what do I need to do to make it happen? That's always a good question. Or how am I supposed to do this with everything else I'm supposed to be doing? And then some people, those 10 to 15% on that other side that they just say no to everything. They want to know how they can stop the train. So lean has started from back in World War II when we were at war with Japan, and we dropped some bombs on Japan, and we leveled their whole infrastructure, everything. Their economy just went kaput. And we sent Henry Ford over there to help kind of spur their industrialized nation again. And there's a gentleman over there named Taiichi Ohno, who's kind of the father of their industry, their newfound industry. And he founded the Toyota production system. And that's where the lean principle was kind of born from and grew from. And so Taiichi Ohno came up with this amazing foundation to lean. So just like when you're building a house, you have a solid foundation. You don't just go out into a yard and start building walls. No, you have a foundation. So the foundation for lean is 5S. It's a business principle. And what it stands for is 5 words that start with S, right? So the first one here is sort. So if you were to go, let's say you went into a garage, and there was tools and yard tools and hand tools and power tools and leftover Christmas decorations and whatever else could be in your garage. You go through there and you sort out what is not needed to conduct what the garage is used for. So maybe it's used to build things or to change the oil in your car or fix your lawnmower. Well, to fix your lawnmower, you don't need Christmas decorations. So what you do is you go into a space, any given space, a workspace, your personal space, your glove compartment, and say, what is needed in here? And I'm going to sort out what is not needed. So whatever's left, you set it in order. You start kind of organizing things, get things in order. Everything has a place and everything is in its place. And then once everything's in its place, kind of clean up the whole area, make it look like it's kind of like new money. You say shine, so you might dust the area, you might clean the floor, you might have to retile the floor, you might want to paint a wall, or just generalized good housekeeping. And then once you do those first 3, those are like the first 3 within the foundation, then you create a standard. This becomes the way of being. So that's when we start shifting into a cultural change. This is something that we're just doing this week, but we do this all the time. So that's how you standardize it. It becomes a habit. It becomes a way of being. And then when you start doing that and you're trending that and it keeps working and working and working, you work to sustain that, to develop a cultural change. So it's the foundation of transformation. So you have to have a foundation and then you just build up from there. So another thing we have to do is we have to have our eyes wide open for this thing called waste. There is waste in every process, believe it or not. I don't care if you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't care if you're building cars, if you're building AX350 extra wide body jumbo jet aircraft, or if you're building signs in your garage. There's waste in every process. So there's several different acronyms. The one I like using is Tim Woody. And so you say, well, what's the acronym Tim Woody? So if you can look at your process and identify these different words, transporting. So am I having to carry things from point A to point B? Back and forth and moving over here and moving over there? How about inventory? Inventory is a big, big waste and killer to dollars. A lot of times we stack up inventory of different things. For example, I thought about this the other day. If you're maybe in a jewelry business and you say, well, the trending thing is this kind of beads or this kind of little bling that goes on a bracelet or a ring or whatever. But you don't want to let go of 3 or 4 trends ago, the inventory that you had for there, because just in case I might need that. Well, so now you're holding on to something that you might use and it's cluttering up your space. So a lot of times we will stack up inventory or we'll get a ton of stuff just in case maybe the deliverer can't get here next week, or we're talking about a snowstorm coming. And so we jacked up our inventory, or maybe we buy a bunch of extra wood if we have a building business, because maybe there's going to be a wood shortage or something like that. But inventory is a big waste. Motion. Maybe let's say you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Let's just get so simple as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And you have to reach over here to get this utensil, and you have to reach over here to get this utensil, and you have to reach over there to get a paper towel, you have to get over there to get the jelly, over here to get the bread. So you're having to do this wasted motion. Another one is waiting. A lot of times we wait on paperwork. We're waiting on somebody to sign this, and then we have to take it over here. Somebody has to sign this. Somebody has to approve this. You might have to wait on the person in the process before you can do your process. And then there's over-processing. So for example, if you bought a 2x4 from your local home improvement store, when you buy wood from those stores, it has the ink stamp on it from the mill. And you might have to try and sand that off, and you're sanding forever, and then you want to sand some more just so you can make the whole board smooth after you remove the ink. Whereas you could get a tool where you just run the board through there and it takes it right off. So many times we get hung up in over processing. And then there's overproduction. So a lot of times we make more than what the customer actually needs just in case. Maybe we have quality issues. Maybe we have poor order taking, and so we, just in case we didn't complete the orders correctly, we've produced more than what we need. And then of course there's defects. So if we don't have a tight quality system over whatever our business is, and it's not just manufacturing, it could be paperwork, it could be calligraphy, it could be making anything. We have to watch our personal quality systems over whatever it is that we're making. And the biggest one, the one that really kind of hits me in the heart, is the intellectual disregard. So if there's more people on your team than just you, so maybe you have a team of 2 or 5 or 10 or 100, but you don't tap into everybody on the team, into their intellectual mind, you are wasting that person. You are not getting the full benefit of that person. So when you look at all of these things, this little acronym, Tim Woody, transporting, inventory, motion, waiting, over-processing, overproduction, defects, and intellectual disregard, if we can take those wastes out of the process, that leaves value-added activity. And we're going to talk more about that here in just a minute. But value-added activity is what the customer is willing to pay for. They're not willing to pay for you waiting. They're not willing to pay for you having to do extra motions. They want a product at the end, and however you can get it from A to B to sale is what they're going to pay for, not all the extra stuff in between. So this moves us into value-added activity. So in trying to identify what a value-added activity is in your process, there's 3 questions you need to ask yourself. 1, does the customer want it? 2, does it change form, fit, or function? Whatever you're doing to your process, to your widget, to your thing, does it change form? So have you progressed it in its completion towards sale? Does it change its fit? Maybe you've bought something that was round and you have to make it square, so you have to, change its fit or its function. And do you do it only once? Meaning you don't have to keep trying to fix it and rework it. 3 questions. Does a customer want it? Does it change form, fit, or function? And do you do it only once? If it fails any of those 3, it is non-value added activity. And believe it or not, 75% of any given process, at least 75%, is non-value added activity. The customer's not willing to pay for that. So we have to identify that value added activity, remove the waste, and capitalize on that value added activity. You might want to ask yourself, or you're asking yourself, why do transformation efforts fail? So maybe you've heard somebody trying to do this whole lean thing. Well, there's several reasons why transformation can fail of any sort. Not establishing a sufficient sense of urgency, not creating a leadership coalition. So it can't just be the middle guy in the leadership chain. It can't be the guy at the bottom, the first guy being hired this week. And it can't just be the CEO. So it has to be the whole organization. Maybe one of the reasons it fails is because you didn't really create a full vision. And then maybe you had a vision, but you just didn't work towards getting rid of the obstacles to complete that vision. And here's a big one, is under communicating by a factor of 10. So if you have this vision, you have to get everybody on board with this vision. If just a few select people know the vision, and there's just an expectation, like through osmosis or something, to get everybody to think that they're supposed to know what they're supposed to be doing. No, there has to be full-fledged communication. And here's a super big one, not creating short-term wins. So there's always this low-hanging fruit. When we can capture the low-hanging fruit first, that kind of emboldens us and encourages us that we can do more. So, you can't just go long and expect that long pass, that 80-yard pass to get that touchdown all the time. I mean, if we in the NFL, if you can get 3 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, those short-term wins, that's what it's all about. Short-term wins can win the game. Another thing is we declare victory too soon. Maybe we did get one of those big wins, and we say, we are done, finally done with lean because we had a big victory. Not the case. The other problem is not anchoring changes in the culture. So if you're not anchoring the changes in the culture, you have not had a cultural change, a cultural shift in your organization or within your market. You need to anchor these changes and keep improving upon those. One of the things that's big in lean is called a Kaizen. So after you've established the foundation, you've started, doing your 5S, you've identified what's value added and non-value added activity. You've started removing those waste out of your processes. Then you can start doing Kaizen events. And the word Kaizen is a Japanese term that means continuous improvement. So what you do is in this little graphic here, you go out to any one of your processes and you map things out the way they are. You can just literally get like a brown piece of paper, put it up on the wall, get you some sticky notes, and start writing down what every step of your process is. And then you start measuring things. You say, okay, well, it takes me this long to do this. It costs this much to do that. I spend this much time doing this, and I have to wait this long to do this. And you start measuring and gathering all these important metrics. And then you start eliminating what does not add value in your process. You say, wow, I didn't realize I was having to do that extra motion. I didn't realize I was keeping extra inventory here just in case. You start identifying and eliminating that non-value added activity. And then you push and start driving and capitalizing on the value added activities. And you train your troops, your team on that. So now you start making a change And now you measure again to see if everything that you've done actually affected the original starting point for the better. And if you do, if you've gained even some of those short-term wins, celebrate your accomplishments. I mean, get excited, build some excitement within your team, and then start over, do it again. It's continuous improvement. That's why Kaizen is continuous improvement, and this is a circle that's continuously flowing. In lean transformation, you may or may not have heard some of these other terms. Every organization seems to want to coin it to fit their flavor of the week. You might have lean manufacturing, continuous improvement, value chain management, agile manufacturing, but truthfully, it doesn't matter what you call it, as long as you start to do it. Let me ask you a question. Are you ready to tap into the power of what lean can do for you? I'm going to tell you the answer to that. And the answer is you can't afford not to. You can't. You can't afford not to start implementing some of these things for your business to compete with your fellow companies and people in your market, because they're going to try and find the new way. And it's up to you to find these new ways, to implement these new things, and take hold of these things that I have learned over the last 15 years. And I'm pushing it out to you guys because I want to see companies succeed. Companies that can succeed by learning stuff that they didn't know that they didn't know. There's so many companies that don't realize what this whole lean thing is all about and how it can work for them. So you say, well, Tom, what's the value in this whole streamline your market thing? So I'm going to tell you, I've been with a couple organizations that hired lean consultants. They may come in for 6 weeks in nice spiffy suits, the little briefcases, and they're going to, speak in all these big terms and treat you just like you're just some obscure student in a conference room for a couple of weeks, and they're going to skitter away with the wind, and they're going to charge your company, a big company, $15,000 to $40,000, and that's on the low side. Or maybe you can go to a local community college, a local tech school, and start taking your belt classes. So lean, because of Tai Chi Ono and its Asian roots, it's kind of based like martial arts and its qualifications. You have yellow belt, green belt, black belt, and the courses get progressively more expensive as you go up. I am a black belt, so I am black belt certified. But you can see the prices here. The yellow belt starts at $125 average. Green belt is $800. Six Sigma black belt can run up to $3,000. So you're looking, possibly at $19,000 to $44,000 for training. Well, guess what, folks? I'm not a consultant. I'm a real guy. I'm a real guy that has used these things that have helped people from the first person, working right out there on the floor, all the way up to CEOs. And I have transformed companies. I have made some transformations that happened in 5 minutes that valued the company over $125,000. So, and I don't charge $19,000 to $44,000. So the price I would be offering for my course, Streamline Your Market, which teaches all these tools, the introduction to lean, expanded 5S techniques, expanded 8 waste identifications and how to eliminate them, expanded value-added definitions, process flow mapping, value stream mapping to find out where the values are in your process, capitalize on those, get the waste out of those. And then a weekly Q&A live support, like on Facebook in a closed group where we're building a community, and I can answer questions on the go as you go through this course. This course is only $497. I'm not a consultant. I'm a small business owner myself. I have a woodworking business that I have had for over 5 years now. I have implemented many of these techniques into my own business as a creator, and I have literally doubled my income, my revenue, year over year consistently for the last 5 years. This stuff works. So I'm not trying to soak anybody for $14,000 to $40,000. I can't do it in my heart. But for the training that I've been through, for the things that I have experienced in aerospace, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, I'm going to bring that to you for the low price of $497. So again, you look at the statistics, $19,000 to $44,000 versus $497. We can obviously see where the win is there. You're going to learn techniques from me that will save your business thousands of dollars and more. And you can start saving these dollars like right now. So the bonus to this is when you purchase my Streamline Your Market course, you're also going to receive my free 5S training exercise, which is an excellent team exercise, builds team, helps define 5S. And I have taught this to over 500 people, and I see nothing but light bulbs just going off on people's heads. And they're like, I get it, Tom. I get it. That is no joke. That is for real. Over 500 people I've taught this to. And you'll get that for free. I'll show you how to teach your people how to use this. You can start the lean transformation fire under your people. So you can teach your staff and your team this. And this exercise alone is worth $197. So $497 and $197, my goodness, you're looking at $694 value from me for only $497, which is much, much more affordable than the other option of me showing up in a suit for 6 weeks in your organization and asking for a $44,000 check. I thank you guys for listening. I hope this has excited you. I hope this has started, lighting some fires and piquing your interest and curiosity. I thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.